Hi everyone. In the previous video that I made, we talked about how you can troubleshoot your application using different capabilities of app services. We talked about the log streams, which is kind of an equivalent to access logs in IIS. We also talked about how you can enable application insights to see detailed logs of your application. We didn't go through one major feature of the app services, which is called diagnose and solve problems. We intentionally didn't do that because I wanted to show you how different and powerful capabilities of web services are and how we can utilize them. Today we'll talk about your very first go-to to solve problems in app services. So here I have the same application that I built in the last video, and you can see the application inside as well. I'm going to click on this app service. Now, all the problems that we had previously are still logged into the app services, and we can still see the history. So I'm going to go to diagnose and solve problems. And you can see diagnose and solve problems comes with a lot of handy options to have a look at how your application is performing in terms of performance, in terms of errors, and in terms of requests that are coming in. There are 6 major categories if you see over here. The very first one, will click on that, talks about availability and performance. So you can see your CPU and memory performance. There'll be different sort of charts and metrics you can see there. You can see downtime and health checks, and you can see different sort of error codes in your requests. If I click on that, it will open up another window with a lot of tabs on top, and then there's some graphs, and then you have different options at the bottom. And that's the mechanism with all the features provided by diagnose and solve problems. You can see this graph is showing you the failed and successful request and the HTTP codes against that. So it's very easy to click on that and dig deep into the error codes. At the bottom, if I see different options. I will go to the HTTP 4xx errors to see what happens there. You can see as I go through different features on top, it starts opening different tabs. Okay, if I come down here, it's showing me that I had one 404 error. And if I click on that, if I go down, you can see this shows me where the error was. So it's not able to find something. So this favorite icon.ico, it's not able to find. That's why the error is. If there were more error, I can click on them and then I can dig deep and see where actually the problem came in. So it shows me where in the code the problem was. It can show that there was a static file it wanted to access. It couldn't find it. Pretty easy. I will go back and we'll see web app slow. Let's go there. So this gave me a bit of overview of where the app was slow and what we can do to improve that. So you can see it shows me how many of the applications were slower and how many were doing better based on the number of milliseconds that they took. So if I come down, it gives me a lot of observations, what happened actually, and what we can do to improve it. So it shows me that somewhere around the form authentication is taking this much time. So that's where I can improve it. And it also gives you different detailed records. You can see the profiler traces here. I can turn it on. You can see the memory dumps. I can download the memory dumps from here to have a look in the details. I can see the activity log. I click on that. It will take me to the activity logs. So you can see this. This is showing me a bit of more detail into the errors and problems. And then it talks about different checks that it made, and all of them are successful. If there was any issue in any of these options, it will show you that as well. Okay, so, and you can see the app performance. It'll show you different performance metrics, and obviously you can see the CPU and memory usage over here. Okay, so and if you click on the full report, it will expand this CPU usage or memory, whatever you have chosen, and it will show you very details in the tabular and the graphical forms. So you can see, you can also see application crashes. For example, If the app was crashed, it will tell you why the app was crashed, and all the exception logs and everything you can see over here. Our application didn't crash, so we won't really get anything here. All right, so all the other options, you can go ahead and play around with them. We get back here. We'll talk about these options again, and then we'll wind up the video. Configuration and management. It, as the name says, it will take you through different configuration related errors and diagnostics. So you can say how your app was scaling, if was not, if you want to analyze in the past history of how your app scaled up and scaled down, you can see it here. All the backups related failures, you can see here. Anything that was happening to IPs and migration, you can see here. Any migration failures, any backup failures, you can see them here. Again, SSL and domain related things, any 4xx errors, which are mostly related to your resources, and you can see any problem with your SSLs and domains, you can see all of those options here. This is very interesting option, best practices. Let's go there. This basically tells you what you can do further to improve your application. So if I go down here, primarily I see two options, availability and performance, and for optimal configurations. Let's go to the availability and performance. So you can see this is kind of a chatbot experience that you query something and it returns you different responses. Now you can see different options that you can see here, and it tells you where you want to improve things. So always on check. So it's saying that always on check is disabled. You need to enable that. And if I enable always on check, obviously it'll be able to better collect the diagnostics because the application will be in the foreground always. You can see all different options here. Auto heal, you need to enable it. Production queue, that's fine because we are already using production queue. Slow request check is done. It's good. There is no problem there. If I see there is a small warning here, it says Azure Traffic Manager not configured. So it tells you different scenario and tells you what you need to do to improve it. So for example, it says deploy the site in multiple geolocations and configure Traffic Manager for better performance and reliability. So you can see how it guides you towards building really resilient and performant applications. And there are many other options. You can have a look at that. If I go back here to the best practices, the second option that we saw here was the optimal configurations. And it talks about configurations, how you can configure your SSL, what your certificates, how you can have a look at if any of the IP is getting deprecated and all the other things. Okay, getting back here. The last two are the navigator, which as you saw in the application insights, that we saw the dependency maps of how our application is talking to different other services. So you can see all of them here. Diagnostic tool again is very detailed diagnostics like memory dumps that we saw before, different sort of metrics and different sort of profiler traces. So with that, that's the end of our video. Again, this is your first go-to area if you want to diagnose and troubleshoot your application. And after that, you also have the option of Logstream, which we saw in the previous video, which you can enable through app log services, app service logs. And we also saw that if you want to get details of the logs, you can enable your application insight from here. That's it for now. Thank you very much.